Okay, Elul. So it's very interesting that in 3 weeks already we're going to be standing with the Dayan, Melech Malchei, Amlach Mekadosh Baruch Hu to judge us. Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem. We made it this far. Look how many people never didn't. What all took place last year, Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. So we would think we should go running around looking for the lawyers. We have to go in front of the judge. We have to stand in front of Din. And what do we say in Elul? Ani ledoidi v'doidi li. Me to my beloved, and my beloved to me. It sounds like it's a love story. Now's the time to get in love, type of thing. What does that mean? One question. Secondly, we have to see the parsha. Parsha says a Moedik Kazach. It says that if this lady, and she was engaged. In those days, engagement meant a Erusim, which is deraisa. She's married. Now, she only has the suin that makes her to live with the husband after the chuppah. So comes along, and this husband accuses his new wife of having hetznus. Right? So what does it say over there? So the pasuk says that the parents, Avi and Nara, the Avi and Nara, the mother and the father, they come along, and they want to proclaim her innocence. So Rashi says, Avi and Nara v'imah, Misha gidlu gedulim aroyim, these ones who brought up these evil child. Look at this. He's basil, like they should get disgraced for her. Therefore, that's their participation over here. They take out the basulim. Now, the pasuk says that the father claims that the daughter is innocent. Now, that's what we're saying now. And she's found to be innocent. So the husband has to pay a knas. Okay. Mighty Shemra. The pasuk later on says, if she's found to be guilty, then you do the skila. And Rashi says over there, Pesach Beis Aviyah, to the opening by the doorway of the father's house. Ru gedulim shegidaltim. You see, this is the type of offspring you brought up. 1 second. The first case is talking about that she was innocent. So, he's disgraced the parents, which is innocent? She was innocent. He's the Moitzi Shema. What do you want from the poor parents? And they're being disgraced for the evil daughter they brought up. She's innocent. She didn't do anything. So what do you mean? What's pshat? So, who are we talking about over here? This guy, there's an expression in Yiddish called a Yom Mitzvach, a year of the Wednesday. Yiddish is Chazal. Yiddish is Sprach. It's Chazal. What's a Yom Mitzvach? It's going to take you a year in the Wednesday. What's a year in the Wednesday? Is that Mishnah in Ksubis? Person gets engaged, you give him a year, and gets married on the Wednesday. A Yom Mitzvach. The year they get ready for the chassid, but the mitzvah. Why mitzvah? Because the Mishnah tells us, because we want, in case there's trouble, that night when he had relations with the wife, he finds she's not a basula virgin, he's going to be so riled up and angry, he's going to come running to Beis Din, because he's going to say, look what's going on over here. When's Beis Din set? Thursday morning, Mondays and Thursdays. So while it's still hot and the anger is going, let him come running to Beis Din. Because what's going to happen if it's on the Monday night he gets married? So Beis Din only sits on Thursday. So Tuesday morning he comes and is riled up, angry, but where's he going to go? He's storming out of the house, and then he gets hungry at lunchtime. So he comes home and the wife is cooking up, and the aroma wafts through his nose, and then he goes, tantalizing smell, eats lunch with her. By the time Thursday comes, he's back at home. You want to get him while the iron is hot. So here's a guy coming Thursday morning screaming, my wife, she did snus. Now 1 second. This is not even true. It never happened. She's innocent, the father's proving. Just 1 second. So who are we talking about over here? The guy got married Wednesday night, Chasanas, Lebedik, I made a gewaltige mitzvah tanz, the works. So why is he coming Thursday morning to complain that she's a zayna? It's not even true. How's that even possible? After the chasna, 3 hours later, he's already coming screaming that she's a zayna, which is sheker. I don't know. This guy's a lowlife. I mean, this guy's midas, mashchosas, his corrupt guy, whatever his problems are. So 1 second. If that's who he is, you would have picked that up if you're a parent. I mean, you research. You're going to give your daughter that means you researched this guy out. That means 1 second. You're okay with his midas. Okay, it didn't manifest itself like this. But you know the guy pretty good. You checked him out. That means that guy's coming like this now. It means he's a low life. That means I got news for you. Your daughter's pretty much the same. I mean, she didn't do this nus. I mean, she could have done this. I mean, here's a low life. She's the low life. That's Gedulim Rhyme. That's bad news. That's disgusting. Okay, she's innocent here. Prove that innocent. Yeah, she's innocent in this case. That's what we're talking about. It's an unbelievable thing. Now, Chalila v'Chalila compare, but the idea is I want to bring out something from this also in the Gea Elul is many of us are hard to get into the Elul. I mean, we're living amongst Goyim and Golas, but part of the problem, maybe I'm just suggesting also, is that we know that we want to do Tshuva, we want to do Rosh Hashanah, keep our lives are in the balance, and we want to be better people. Bottom line is, what's the morning after Yom Kippur? What's the night after Yom Kippur? Many of us find ourselves that we wanted to change, and we committed ourselves, and then we find ourselves pretty much back into the spot we were before. The morning after, I'm just saying, the Havdalah, I'm saying. So many times we don't invest in the Elul like we should, because is it lasting? We don't feel that we're improving ourselves and everlasting and making it happen. It's going to happen again. We go back and we find ourselves the same thing. And to make the question even worse, Shimshon Pincus has a Moedika question. We discussed this before. He says, every year, every Kippur. I said the same thing last year. I thought I might have got better this year, a little bit, I don't know. But it seems pretty similar stuff I'm doing this year like last year. How much more did I change? Okay, Hashem, please do me a favor. Give me another year. I'll try again. I'm going to try my best. And next year, every Kippur comes, I find myself depressed. I don't want to say it, but I did this last year again. Find myself... And then Shimshon Pincus says, eventually we do move upstairs after we pass on, and then we find ourselves in the Shemayim, and Hashem pulls out the credit card bill. I mean, this is a pretty good life. I mean, we all have our ups and downs and different issues, but overall, a pretty beautiful life down here. We got heating, cooling, cars. I mean, we don't have the whole horse and wagon trips they used to make in the old days, the stifling heat and the cold. You're cold, you put the button, press it down, it goes. Pretty luxurious life. The food, we complain, we like to complain, but generally speaking, if we look at all the overall good we've had, it's pretty much 5-star hotel. I mean, a guy living today poor is living richer than people lived for the last 5,600 years. I mean, nobody had air conditioning 100 years ago. What are you talking about? I mean, bathrooms in the house. I mean, it's just the luxury of luxury. So after all is said and done, it's a pretty big credit card bill, because where's it coming from? So Hashem pulls out the credit card bill and says, no. And then I have to say, well, I mean, I made a bracha once. I had kavanah. When was it again? I had it every Kippur. That's right. I benched with kavanah a little bit. So I did bench once. It was once in the year I did. I even remember making shakal, I believe once. I was really thirsty. I said shakal nevidvari. I did a shayotza. I even said once I had stomach cramps. I said, I can get a few brachas in. Shabbos, I think it was pretty good. At the Elul Shabbos, medaktik halacha. I wanted to. I used to look at the clock when Shabbos is out. Sometimes I used to run. No, I want to keep Shabbos another minute. I mean, if we start looking at all the things about ourselves, we're not going to necessarily find that we can consider ourselves like in Tzaddikim Gemurim list. I don't know if that's going to happen. So now, Zakum Shimshon Pincus, I have to pay up for this world. I have a credit card bill for this world, and I don't really know how much I can pay that up, and now I have to worry about next world too. Forever and ever and ever. I haven't got what to pay up 60, 70, 80, 90 years on this world, and I'm going to now have stock in Olam Haba forever and ever how do I get there? It's a pretty scary question. Very scary question. But Shimshon Pincus says it, Moedika answer. Zakum Shimshon Pincus, he says, look, if you're working for a highfalutin company in Manhattan and they ask you to represent them in Tokyo, with honor, they give you first class ticket. They give you a 5-star hotel. They stretch limit, pick you up. They give you coupons. You can wine and dine in Tokyo. You get the best world over there. So, are you paying for the trip? Are you getting paid for the trip? Yeah, expenses paid, and you get salary, and you're having the time of your life. Now, if you come back from Tokyo and they said, "How'd the job go?" I said, "The job? Oh, I forgot about the job. I was so busy doing everything else." Then you get a big bill. You get for the first class ticket and for the stretch. But if you did the job, it's all paid. And you get salary because you're representing the company. It's like the Shimshon Pincus, if we can get ourselves to realize that we're representing the company, God sent us down to this world to do a job for Him. Now, that's to fight this Yetzer Hara guy. We've got big problems. He's overwhelming us. He's out to get us. If I can fight him, I realize I'm working for the company of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It means every battle that I go into, and I'm doing it for the boss, I'm working for the company. So I'm going to get expenses paid on this world, plus I'm going to get salary too. Just one little key I have to remember is I'm working for the boss. If I have that recognition, and I realize that, then I'm good to go. Now I have to fight the Yetzirah, that's true. But at least as I get myself in line, so it's really a beautiful time, Elul, to get ourselves back on line, to get our marching orders and to get back to corporate headquarters, to realize I'm doing the Kadosh Baruch Hu's job in this world. If I can recognize that that's what I'm here for, and I have to contend with this Yetzirah, overwhelming Yetzirah, and I just got to try and put my best into it, I'm going to get paid salary plus the expenses in this world. Now, getting back to what we started, the question that Elul, it's a love time, because if you really think about it, it's really the same idea. Because once you're working with the boss, he chose me to come down to do his mission here. Well, he picked me out of all the thousands and millions of malachim. Malachim, they can't do this job in this world. No, they'd fail miserably. He chose me to represent him. Malach Malachim gave me a job in this world to have to come down and represent him. 10 of us here can make a minyan, say, Hey Shmei Rabbi, it's the power that I have. If I can generate love. Because when you're in love with something, and then you meet the judge, firstly, the judge takes on a different situation when you're in love. If you just come the first time before a judge and he looks at you and you did a crime, you're in trouble. But if you're his beloved son, judges will have to be accused, they'll not be able to judge. But the case is, if you come and find that your father's the judge, you breathe a little bit easier. You know he cares about you, he loves you. But it's even more than that. Because the more love that you have, it's automatic tshuva me'ava, because how in the world did I do that? I love the person. How could I do such a thing? I hurt him. Not because of crime, because I hurt the person I love so much. So that generates, I'm going to do tshuva me'ava. It becomes a love situation between me and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and that's going to generate, that's going to propel me, it's going to give me life further. We get caught into the maelstrom of this world and we get overwhelmed. We have to find something that's going to connect us and keep it going. We're worried about the day after Yom Kippur. We wanted to make it a lifetime thing, and we can. The problem is that we're so overwhelmed with time. We're so caught up, we don't have time for a minute. If we would take out, even just to allow ourselves, whatever connection we can to get that love connection that will generate with us. Okay, we have to work on it, but at least at the subconscious level, it could create an ongoing love situation. For example, to take something small that could be very, very meaningful. I just end off with this story, but it brings out a tremendous point. There was a fellow who was traveling from Yerushalayim to Beit Shemesh, Ramat Beit Shemesh, and it was late at night, and he went to get the bus. I think there's a Mahadran bus, if I'm not mistaken. That's the way the story goes. So he went to the bus stop, and he realized, it's very late. He doesn't think there's going to be another Mahadran bus. But he sees two Bachim standing there, and he says, where are you guys going? Ramat Beit Shemesh. He says, I think it's late. What are you going to do? He said, very simple. We're going to say Mizmar L'Soida. Oh, yeah? And what happens then? Oh, and then we're going to get a ride. Oh, really? Yeah, we do all the time. We say Mizmar L'Soida, then we get the ride, and then we say Mizmar L'Soida again, thanking Hashem. So, I'd like to see this. So Mela, he stands there watching. Sure enough to say Mizmar L'Soida. 2 minutes later, a taxi pulls up. Okay, where are you guys going? Ramat Beit Shemesh, hop in, I'll give you half price. The guy says, wow, this is amazing. And he says, because it was late at night, the guy said, no customers. So they said, no, we're not going with you. We're going to get a ride for free. That's late, 11 o'clock at night. The guy turns up. No, I'm not going with you. We're going to get a ride for free. We said, Mizmar L'Soida. The guy's really intrigued. Now he wants to watch what happens. Sure enough, 2 minutes later, a big, what do you call it? The big car turns up. And they all hop in. Where are you going? Ramat Beit Shemesh. Which Shkuna? That one. I'm going there, right there. Perfect. Oof. So he turns to the driver and says, where were you? What were you doing? He says, I was leaving Zvil. So I think you take Route 6 out of 9, whatever it is. There's a shorter route. I've got the story right. Why are you coming here? This is out of the way. He says, yeah, I was going. And then I thought to myself, maybe some people need a ride. So I'm going to check by the bus stop over there. Maybe they need a ride. So I came here. What time was that? He said, 11 or whatever time it was. It was the same moment they were saying Mizmar L'Soida. Now, that's the story. What's the side? The side is, this is the way I understand it. You think about it, what's the pasuk you say Mizmar L'Soida? The halacha says you're supposed to say Mizmar L'Soida singing. It's a gewaldige toida. It's halacha. What's the pshat? Think of the words. Du ki Hashem hu Elokim. Know that Hashem is Elokim. Hu asan, He made us. V'lai anachnu, we are His. Am his people? V'tzoy are the sheep of his pasture. If I'm the sheep and he's my shepherd, Hashem's the most trusted shepherd. He's not going to let a sheep go. If I'm his sheep, he's my shepherd. He'll take care of me. Then engulfs me with love, with the one line, one pasuk. If we say Bismillah Soida every day, think of that one pasuk. It's going to generate that connection. Number one, that he's loving to take care of me. If I'm his sheep, he's my shepherd. He cares about me. He loves me. He wants to make sure he's the Roy Lo Yachzor. Moshe Rabbeinu was the Roy Naaman. We look at the Klal Yisrael Shiva Royim. Roy takes care of his sheep. That's the leadership quality of a Yiddish leader. So if I'm Hashem's sheep, he's my shepherd. What an opportunity! If I can drill that in, it's overwhelming how much we can do in Elul. It's so much, but we're so little. We don't know. Let's access that one pasuk. That's him, and generate the ava, and generate the fact that I'm on his mission. I'm doing his job, and then it'll be an everlasting love. It'll be kayim, and it'll be a schus, and the Baruch will give us that each one should have gewaldig hatzlacha, and the Klal Yisrael have gewaldig yeshuas eberself, and this should be tafshin pei. It's still tafshin pei teishnas plois. It should be gewaldige things taking place in the world. That should be for schus for God's Klal Yisrael. We should all be zeichet to gewaldige ksivichsim etoivim.